enthusiastic. Distinguished colleagues, I'm sure because of the appropriation committee meetings going on, so many of our colleagues are still crossing the T's and dotting the I's. We'll wait for them until they bring their reports. In the meantime, we follow our other paper. The next item on the other paper is administration of oaths. So I understand there is already one. So let me invite our sister, distinguished Senator-elect Natasha Akpoti Oduaga, to take this stage for the clerk of the Senate to administer the oaths.
Repeat after me. I, Natasha Akpoti Uduaha,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
that as a member of the Senate,
that as a member of the Senate,
I will perform my functions honestly,
I will perform my functions honestly,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria
faithfully in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and the law
and the law,
and the rules of the Senate,
and the rules of the Senate,
and always in the interest of the sovereignty,
and always in the interest of the sovereignty,
integrity,
integrity,
solidarity,
solidarity,
well-being,
well-being,
and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
that I will strive to preserve
that I will strive to preserve
the fundamental objectives
the fundamental objectives
and directive principles of state policy
and directive principles of state policy
contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and that I will preserve,
and that I will preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and that I will abide by the Code of Conduct
and that I will abide by the Code of Conduct
contained in the 5th Schedule
contained in the 5th Schedule
of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I,
Natasha Akpoti Uduaha,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and that I will preserve,
and that I will preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I need to sign it. You
Of
have a Bible?
course, no, I don't have a pen.
Get the Bible.
Order, please. Distinguished colleagues, please settle down. Already late.
The floor is set. Thank you, the Chief Whip. Let me congratulate our female gender, distinguished Senator Nat Assembly. Petitions. Distinguished Senator Ekong Samson.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Ekong Samson, Akwa Ibom South. I have before me two petitions from some Nigerians. Principally, they are on abridgments of their rights to employment. The first is from Honorable Joseph Akban, who claims that his employment was terminated unlawfully, and he has approached these hollow chambers for an intervention. The second is from a constituent, Ms. Rita Nkanga Di Umoren. Her complaint also is that her appointment by Mobile was terminated in a wrong manner. She has now approached us for an intervention. By the kind permission of the Senate President, I would like to tender these petitions for our scrutiny. Thank you.
Please proceed.
Point of order.
Petitions received and referred to Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions to report back in 2 weeks. Any other petition? Yes, point of order.
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, point of order, order 41 and 51. Mr. President, matter of urgent public importance, and I read, the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting. And the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Mr. President, I rely on this order, and I discussed with you earlier on the happening and the loss of life along the Benue yesterday, where over 30 people lost their lives yesterday. Mr. President, if you hold and the Senate holds no objection, I will want this matter to be referred to next legislative day for proper notice to the Senate. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, distinguished Senator Abbas discussed this unfortunate tragedy with me that occurred just yesterday or thereabout, of another set of people killed through another boat mishap on River Benue, right? And he felt he should bring it for discussion. And it is my view, and I hope it's the view of the Senate, that it should come on the next legislative day through a proper motion so we can provide solutions to the incessant loss of lives. If it is the view of the Senate that he be allowed to bring it up on the next legislative date. Can we say aye? All those who are against it say nay. So the Senate has given you the approval to do so.
The issue, Mr. President, you will recollect, sir, that 2 days ago I moved a motion under Order 42 then, and it was the view of the Senate that graciously approved that I should come back with a proper motion. I will therefore come back with that proper motion on the need to celebrate and honor one of our predecessors, Senator Kunle Oyero, who has attained the enviable milestone age of 100. If I so have your permission, Mr. President, and distinguished colleagues, I will proceed to move the motion.
Distinguished colleagues, distinguished Senator Sass had actually brought this up in our previous sitting, and we said it should come by way of motion. Is it the view of the Senate that it be allowed to proceed and move the motion? Those who are in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You can now proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Today, I rise to move a motion on behalf of myself and the leader of the Senate, Senator Bamidele Michael Okpayemi, and of course, my brother from Delta Central, Senator Davinono Ede. They are the co-sponsors of this motion. And this motion is essentially to celebrate one of our predecessors that was in the Senate from 1979 to 1983, and he attained the age of 100 on Saturday, 28th of October. I so proceed now. The Senate notes that Senator Kunle Oyero was a member of the Senate in the Second Republic, 1979 to 1983, representing Ogun Central Senatorial District of Ogun State, serving alongside other notable members of that Senate, such as Senators Dr. Joseph Wayas, who was the Senate President, Olusola Saraki, Senate Leader, Abraham Adesoya, and David Davinoni, who incidentally was also his classmate at Abeokuta Grammar School, among all others. All of these senators have blessed memory except the celebrant. Also aware that in addition to being a senator, Senator Kunle Oyero played very significant roles in the politics of their country, including but not limited to serving as an elected member of the Chief Rotimi Williams-led Constitutional Drafting Committee, popularly called the Committee of 550 Wise Men, set up by the then head of state, General Olusegun Obasanjo, that drafted the 1979 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We further note that Senator Oyero is an accomplished legal practitioner that was called to the English bar in Lagos in 1955 and was enrolled at the Supreme Court of Nigeria on Thursday, 16 February 1956. He served the Nigerian bar in various capacities, such as Chairman Lagos branch between 1967 and 1970, first National Vice President, and member of the Council of Legal Education between 1972 and 1978. He is a member of African Bar Association, Commonwealth Bar Association, and International Bar Association. Further aware that in the 60s, this statesman was president of Nigerian Youth Congress, second secretary, Socialist Workers and Farmers Party of Nigeria. He was also president, Federation of Nigerian Youth. As a demonstration of his love for youth and education, he has awarded in the last 35 years, among other philanthropic gestures, attained an enviable milestone age of 100 years on Saturday, 28th October 2023, having been born on Sunday, 28th October 1923. Cognizant of the need to celebrate and honor Senator Kunle Oyero's immense contributions to our dear country in various capacities, particularly as a senator in the Second Republic, we also resolve to celebrate and honor him in the plenary with a symbolic motion to mark his 100th birthday and a congratulatory letter from the President of the Senate to Senator Oyero. last but not the least, to honor the invitation and send a delegation of the Senate to attend a colloquium to mark the centenary's birthday on Saturday, 11th November 2023 in Abeokuta, the capital of Ogun State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I enlist your support for this motion. When we celebrate a predecessor, we're not just celebrating an individual, we're celebrating his 100 years of age, is still kicking. He has invited us to join him for the celebration on 11th November.
I rise to support the motion.
To
Follow the procedure.
sorry for that omission. I'm in support of the motion for supporting those who lay the foundation of democracy for this country. And I'm particularly happy today that I'm here because 79, I was an electoral officer. I was a polling unit presiding officer. And I remember with nostalgia, my colleagues, that during that election ballot were in bundles like money, with serial numbers, with counterfoils, that after election, you return these materials back. Those that were every set should be emulated so that our election can continue to improve as time goes by. Thank you very much. I so support, sir.
Distinguished Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Oyewumi Olalere. I represent Osun Central District of Osun State. Mr. President, I rise to lend my voice swipe on the right politician. It's a great honor to be done to this chamber. If we are honoring part, we will be part of is celebrating for.
Since my assumption of duties in the Senate, even in the 8th Senate, this is the first area. Wonderful. Contributions to our dear country in various capacities, particularly the I serve it. Secondly, to celebrate Abeokuta, Ogun State. Again, say nay, the I serve it. So I will send my letter of congratulations.
Celebrate him in this hall.
That they remember. Okay, the Senior Senator Salisu Afolabi, thank you for this.
Federal College of Crop Science.
First reading taken.
On the Terminal Illness Trusts Fund Establishment Bill 2023, SB 22.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Terminal Illness Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2023, SB 223, first reading.
Name of the
EFCC Act Amendment.
The fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Barao Jibrin on the Nigerian Real Estate Industry Regulations and Development Bill 2023, SB 238. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
It's first reading.
Bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Yao Sahabi Alhaji on the National Bio.
First reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. Today should be a motion standing in my name on the executive communication from Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief on the reading of the communication which was approved today. And I say the same, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, regarding the second order of the day, which is a motion requesting the Senate to consider the request of Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the confirmation of the nomination of the following persons for appointment as chairman and members of the Federal Civil Service Commission. The name Committee on Establishment, then and distinguished colleagues, Commander-in-Chief for the Republic of Nigeria, 1990. Anubum Onuoha from Rivers, and 3, Mr. Abubakar Fawa Dambo of Zamfara. Mr. President, distinguished senators, in order to carry out this exercise in conformity with our Standing Order 12 on floor privileges, I will move a motion that the Senate do admit the special advisor to the President on National Assembly matters into the Senate chamber, and as well suspend same Order 12 to admit the nominee and their entourage as strangers into the Senate chamber. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I write to second the motion that the House suspend our Order 12 to allow strangers to come into. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do allow strangers to approach the chambers for the purpose of continuous screening and confirmation of Mr. President's request. Those who are in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Did he move? Leader of the Senate, what is happening? Clerk of the Senate, send the Sergeant at Arms to bring. Senator Igboyan, approach the chair. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I stand to move for the Senate to resolve into the Committee of the Whole to conduct the confirmation hearing. Mr. President, I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion moved by the Senate Leader. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do resolve in the Committee of the Whole to continue with the confirmation and screening hearings. Those who are in support say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. So the Senate resolve into the Committee of the Whole. Leader of the Senate. You have two, Leader of the Senate. You have two proposals here, one from the Civil Service Commission. Are we taking that first? So let me welcome the nominees of Mr. President who were absent yesterday. So we start with Dr. Bumi Omosheindem, representing Lagos State. Give us a brief resume of yourself, summarize what is on your resume, and then if you have anything else to add, you add, and thereafter you take a few questions from distinguished senators.
The leadership of the Senate, I take the leave of the Senate President and the President of the Senate to recognize the distinguished senator from my state Senator Tokunbo Abiru, Senator Ronti Adebule, Senator Wasiu Eshinlokun. I would also like to recognize my very good friend, the leader of the Senate, who have been together since Student Union's Day, the former NANS president in the 80s, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele. I would also like to recognize my friend, Senator Adeola Olamilekan Yayi. Also distinguished Senator Benga Daniel. My name is Bumi Omoshenyindemi. I am a medical practitioner and also a practitioner of traditional and alternative medicine, a product of College of Medicine, University of Lagos, a product of University of Ibadan, a product of University College London, and also having some leadership training program from McGill University, Montreal, Canada. I was a medical practitioner at Trinidad and Tobago from 1985 to 87 after leaving medical school in 1985. I came back and I set up a practice at Lagos. Eventually, I changed my orientation concerning the issue of healthcare within the country. So I decided to embark on a journey to go and study African traditional medicine at University of Ibadan, where I have a master's degree in belief system and traditional African traditional medicine. I'm a member of West African Health Organization Expert Committee on Traditional Medicine, and I'm also a member of the WHO Expert Committee on Traditional Medicine. In 2001, I was made the Chairman Lagos State Traditional Medicine Board, where we did a lot of reform in the healthcare system. And Mr. President of the Senate, I have to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come to Akwa Ibom when you were the governor, to come and retrain the traditional birth attendants on the way we can reduce infant mortality and maternal death within our nation. Thank you for the opportunity given me, the President of the Senate. Also, after my sojourn all over, I was made the Lagos State, a member of the Lagos State Electoral Commission in year 2015, Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, where I served till year 2021. And I've attended various courses and I presented a lot of papers across the world on issue of health, on issue of environment, on issue of social development, and so on and so forth. And I've been able to go for training on strategy and innovation at McGill University. Mr. President, I would also like to use this opportunity to thank the President of the nation, our President Bola Tinubu, for nominating me from among numerous people within this country to be the resident commissioner. It is a privilege, and I promise not to let the country down if I'm confirmed. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, distinguished senator. Sure.
So you're welcome. Thank you for reminding me that I gave you the opportunity to train the local bed attendants in my state to reduce infant mortality and maternal deaths during deliveries. I'm sure you did a good job. I think the president is really very concerned about INEC. That is why we have to bring people of diverse backgrounds. If you're training as a traditional medicine doctor who help INEC, we must do everything possible to put different fields in INEC so that INEC can live up to its responsibilities. Any questions? Questions, I'm not talking of commendations. Question? Yes, leader.
Mr. Senate President, I'm Senator Lolan Shiro, representing the good of people of Kwara South. Quite a good CV from Mr. Obasanjo, and I want to ask, you were trained in University of Lagos for medicine, and you graduated and you practiced this medicine. Having practiced for some times, you find it necessary to find alternative solution to delivery of health services in Nigeria. And we enjoy them to look at it. The same way you look at medicine, is it possible for you to look at electoral matter and INEC matter in a different form? Probably looking at it from perspective of misdemeanor from so many politicians and finding a way of getting the problem sorted out. Thank you, Mr. President.
You take most of the questions, then you just give the answer. If I understand the leader, he's saying that when you practice medicine up to a level, you realize there was something missing, and that was injecting traditional practice into it. So after having been an electoral officer from 2015 to 2021, after 6 years, now you've been given a platform. Is there anything you do differently or inject differently into the electoral practice to enable us to have better elections? But Senator, let me hear from Senator Abiru first, because he mentioned his name before Senator Bonguro.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, sitting as the chair. My name remains Mukahil Adetokunbo Abiru, representing Lagos East. Mine is more of a commendation, and so I don't really have a question. And I want to just say that Mr. President, standing before us, is an accomplished professional, both in terms of, both from the public and private sector. And of course, his biodata that we have speaks enormous, they speak volume. And more importantly is the fact that he had also functioned at the state level in a similar capacity that is about to also embark upon. So for me, is to say that I think this is a right fit into the position that he is ascribing to, and I would just want to enjoin my colleagues that will give him all the support. So I so submit, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know who said this note to me. That is very well experienced, and that the outside alternative medicine, that they can call it Babalawo, and that he would prefer that that is posted to Akwa Ibom State to take care of the problems in INEC there. So I don't know the person that sent this note, but whoever sent it, I will ignore it. But Senator Bonguro, after that, the leader will speak, and then we close, because this is already very well experienced. I think the major thing about INEC is a question of integrity. The man that is standing before us is a man of high integrity and a serious-minded person, and somebody who believes, who expresses his belief in what he does. Otherwise, so for me, the integrity is enough for you to go there and help us to have better elections in the future. So let me hear from Senator Monguno briefly, and then after that, the Senate leader will round off.
Mr. Senate President, sitting as chairman, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Mr. Nominee, I've gone through your resume very carefully, and I've seen that you have once served as electoral commissioner in Lagos State. And it has become a recurring decimal across sub-nationals, across the nooks and crannies of the country, wherever elections were conducted. It's a clean sweep for the government or for the party in power at that subnational level. And people have now come to believe that at the subnational level, free, fair, and credible election that is a replica of the wishes and aspirations of the people is not being conducted. And it is across the nooks and crannies of the country. In your own opinion, having served at that level as electoral commissioner, what happened, either by an act of omission or commission, that leads to the government in power or the party in power at subnational level always taking over all the local governments whenever elections are conducted at that level? But at the national level, we still have opposition parties winning, as reflected in the composition of this chamber. What, in your opinion, brings about that, and what step are we going to take to correct that anomaly? Because the avalanche of suggestions that conduct of election at the subnational level should be transferred to the national level so that it will be conducted through the independent National Electoral Commission by way of a constitutional amendment. So as we are embarking upon an exercise of constitutional amendment very soon, will you subscribe to the idea of transferring conduct of elections by the state independent electoral commissions to the National Independent Electoral Commission? Thank you.
The chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, that question is very pertinent. I was actually going to ask that, based on his experience after 6 years in the state electoral body, will he subscribe to the local government elections to the country being handled nationally, so that we stop these bandwagon victories of states, depending on which state which party is in power? So I think it's a very pertinent question. Try to answer that before the leader speaks.
Thank you, the President of the Senate and distinguished senator. I'm going to take the first question first. The distinguished senator asks, what he was asking is our electoral reform. What can we do to make sure things are properly done? So, working with the members of the INEC, if I'm confirmed, we will bring new innovation and strategic plan, because we have had opportunity to have undergone planning of having strategic plan done by international IFEX. IFEX, we had a training with IFEX, and we have done 5-year plan, strategic plan on electoral process. And I'll be able to make sure we come with that and find a way to reform the process. I think that's the way we should go. On the second question concerning the LISEC, whether our observation is that people is a low voter apathy about the voters. We are going to embark, we make sure, if I'm confirmed, and I will work with the chairman of the INEC and reintroduce that we should embark on a massive voter education and the orientation of our people towards what they call, because I remember in 1998, we had a lecture before immediately the democracy came, I was the one that gave the lecture. You can see there. The most essential, before you can have a sustainable democracy, there must be a participatory process. People must participate. But at the local level, at the state level, people always assume, it's assumption that the state government is there already, the local government result will be one, which is wrong. I can tell you authoritatively, I conducted 2 elections, local government elections. The opposition won, and they were given the result. I can remember, and you can go and ask the people.
Come to the Senate next time. Opposition should remain opposition, disunited. Do you understand? I'm sure my brothers agree with me. If you have spare time, maybe weekends and all that, will you still go ahead and train, traditional bed attendants, pro bono, without charging fees, because you are an expert, maternal mortality? Will you still have that time? You can do that free without charging fees while you are working with
attendants all over. And I got invitation from ECOWAS country to come and give lectures on how to reduce maternal and infant mortality. And I haven't done it up to it for WHO level, because we don't have many people that studied medicine and African traditional medicine. I believe, by God's grace, we are only few of us within the continent. So I'm ready to do that.
I will appeal that you consider coming to South-South. In my view, the Senate leader, the man is more than qualified, and until the Senate says so, I won't say so myself. But do you have anything you add?
Well, Mr. President, just before you put the question, I would say, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the nominee standing before us, of course, has addressed some of the issues raised by our colleagues. I'm sure more could have been raised, but the little that I can just say, in addition to everything that has been said, especially the addition by our able colleague, distinguished Senator Tokunbo Abiru, who actually is the senator representing the nominee, is to say that the nominee also is a well-known person to me as a man of integrity. By the grace of God and the grace of His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Governor of Lagos State then, or as he then was, I was privileged to serve as a honorable commissioner in Lagos State. Actually, I was in the cabinet of Lagos State for 11.5 years as commissioner in different ministries and under 2 governors, Governors Tinubu and Fashola. And in all of my 11.5 years, I knew and related with Dr. Omose Indemi as a civil servant, a medical doctor in the public service of the state, very political, and a man of integrity. And when, Your Excellency, you read the note that was passed to you, and somebody was trying to describe him as a Babalawo, I was wondering who wrote that. But the person came to whisper to me. His name is distinguished Senator Fada Unsi. I knew, and I said, sir, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't say anything that we did not say before. Dr. Omose Indemi's AKA, alias in Lagos State was actually Babalawo. And he was glad to answer that appellation. So, sir, I just want to say that the Senate will do well by asking him to take a bow and leave, while we assure Nigerians that Dr. Musa Indemi will be a round peg in a round hole as an electoral officer in this country. I thank you, sir.
Honestly, it's for you to expose Senator Fadahusi. I don't know how he's going to feel, because he did not put his name when he said the note to me. He said, distinguished SP, please describe the man properly. He said, Bawalawo. Yes, but the man started by saying that by explaining he read medicine, became a medical doctor, but he saw the yawning gap in the way the traditional bed attendants were doing. So he went further to study it, came back and started training them. And he had the opportunity also to train in my state. So that's why I'm asking him. I said, because you have saved a lot of lives, you reduce maternal mortality, you reduce infant mortality, even in your current posting as INEC rec, if the Senate confirms, please continue to assist, because the issues are still there. Continue to assist wherever you go. Is it the view of the Senate that this nominee be allowed to take a bow and go? Yes. Abubakar Sarki Bawa. So, a brief resume of yourself and anything that is outside your CV that you would like the distinguished senators to know.
Your Excellency, President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Gosula Fabio, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Senate, the leadership of the Senate, distinguished senators, Your Excellency, permit me to acknowledge my senators from my state, distinguished Senator Sahabi Al-Hayau, distinguished Senator Ikra Aliu Bilbis, and distinguished Senator Abdulaziz Abubakar Yari. Distinguished senators, good afternoon. My name's Abubakar Salkin Power Dam'o, born in Dam'o village, Bakura local government of Zamfara state. I'm married to 4 wives and many children. I attended Dabo Primary School, later attended Sultan Abubakar College, Sokoto in 1983. Went to College of Education, Sokoto, now Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto, and graduated in 1988. I also went to Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, and studied Bachelor of Arts and Education, degree in Islamic Studies. I went to the same institution in 2002 and to obtain my postgraduate diploma in public administration. Later in 2005, went back to the same institution and bagged master's degree in public administration. I am a trained teacher who taught at various schools, later converted to admin department of Zamfara State Service. In Zamfara State, I served as Secretary, Commodity Marketing and Distribution Board in the year 2002. Later, I was appointed as the Executive Secretary, Pilgrims Welfare Agency, then as the Executive Secretary. I was later I later became the chairman of Bakuru local government in 2011. I was equally appointed by former Governor Abdulaziz Yari, then as special advisor on higher education. I became, again, executive chairman of the Zamfara State Hajj Commission in the year 2016 to 2020. And lastly, I became the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry for Local Government and Community Development of Zamfara State. Your Excellency, I wish to thank Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for finding me worthy for nomination as the Resident Electoral Commissioner, REC, representing Zamfara State. Sir, if confirmed by the Distinguished Senate, I promise to work diligently and ensure transparency, fairness, and equity to the nation in general. Wassalamu alaikum.
Okay. Distinguished Senator Mongoro. Distinguished Senator Saleh Mustafa. The nominee, in view of the fact that no senator has any question to ask, your resume is very intimidating. Nobody is asking any question. So is it the view of the Senate that you should take a bow and go? Yes. Please. Next. Standing before us is Dr. Onubum Onoha, DSSSRS, Associate Professor of Law. Give a brief resume of yourself. If there's anything else you want us to know, otherwise you will take a bow and go.
Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Senate, leadership of the Senate, distinguished senators. Excellency, sir, I want to take your leave to recognize the senators representing Rivers State. I want to start on Harry and distinguished Senator Allwell Onyesu. From my program in Obiakpo local government and attended state school, Rumeme, where I had my first school leaving certificate. I attended King's College, Buguma, where I had my West African School certificate. I also attended River State University, first with Bachelor of Technology in Estate Management. I also at University, where I had my master's degree in law. I also went to Imo State University, where I had my PhD in law, Doctor of Philosophy. I worked with the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing as senior lands officer. I went back to the state where I rose to director lands and transferred my service to the River State University. I'm currently an associate professor of law and head of department, private and property law. I've served as a commissioner in River State Electoral Commission. Mr. President, sir, let me also use this opportunity to thank Mr. President for giving me this opportunity to be nominated amongst over 200 million Nigerians to serve as resident electoral commissioner. If this honorable chamber confirms my appointment, I promise to add value to the electoral system. I adopt whatever that is in my CV. Thank you, Mr. President.
Before us is an associate professor of law. Is there any person who has any doubt as to his integrity and qualification? Is it the view of the Senate he should be allowed to take a bow? Yes. You are a fellow. Oh, my own is GSSR. Your own is DSSR, so mine is higher than your title. Well done. Well done. Leader of the Senate. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Dr. Bumi Omosheyindem from Lagos State for appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner for the Independent National Electoral Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Dr. Onubum Onuoha from Rivers State for appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner for the Independent National Electoral Commission? Those in favor say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Mr. Abubakar Fawa Dambo from Zamfara State for appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner, Reg, for the Independent National Electoral Commission? Those in favor say aye, those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate resolve back into plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that we move back to the plenary for the chair to report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate will revert to plenary for the chair to report progress. Those who are in support of the motion say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate will now revert to plenary. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the committee of the whole part in the colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Bumi Omeshindem from Lagos State for appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner, REC, for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC? Those in favor of the confirmation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Bumi Omeshindem from Lagos State is hereby confirmed as Resident Electoral Commissioner, REC, for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Onubum Onoha from River